the right kind of personality that works in the playoffs. And I've said this for years. Russell Westbrook's a stat patter in the regular season. He's going to win awards. He's not built for the playoffs. And for the third year in a row, I'm not a hater. One of the advantages I have doing this show over you is you're fans. You're emotional. I try not to be. And the story with Westbrook and Kevin Durant had a lot of emotion. Kevin Durant bailed on him on a small market to go join a growing dynasty, and nobody liked KD. We don't like that. And everybody's rooting for Westbrook, the little guy who got dumped in Oklahoma City. And we were rooting for Westbrook. And once you bring emotion into a sports argument, you're dead. I win, and I won here. But my show's not about winning. It's about trying to tell you something that you never thought about before. So let me start with this. Westbrook's never been built for the postseason. There's 3 reasons why. A, playoff basketball is all about adapting. It's a chess match. It's the same opponent 5 times, 6 times, 7 times. Westbrook doesn't adapt. He's a human tornado. He's got one speed. He's a sprinter. The playoffs are about a marathon. Moving this piece, getting this piece. That's not Westbrook's game. That's the opposite of Westbrook's game. He's not adaptable. One speed, 100 miles an hour. He's not built for the playoffs. Very Derrick Rose-like. Second thing is, playoff basketball is about coaching. Greg Popovich, Brad Stevens. This is why I pick coaches as much as teams in the playoffs. Well, Westbrook's very, very difficult to coach. He's inflexible. His personality's inflexible. His game is inflexible. He's a my way or a highway guy. I think even Westbrook fans would acknowledge he's kind of rigid. And number 3 is he's volatile. You do not want volatility. Playoff basketball is all about crisis. How do you handle crisis? Westbrook's arguing with fans, children, media, coaches, rivals, the 3 things that matter in playoff basketball. And this is why I sold my stock on Westbrook 3 years ago. The playoffs are about adapting. He doesn't. They're about coaching. He's hard to coach. And they're about handling crisis with calm. He's the opposite. He's completely volatile, which is the last thing you want in playoff basketball. He's not built for this time of the year. But you were rooting for him because he's the little guy and he got dumped by KD and KD joined a dynasty and that stinks and you like the little guy and the underdog and so you were emotionally all in on Westbrook and it clouded your judgment. I was never a hater on this. It was right in front of you. Look at the data. Look at the numbers. He's the 3 things I don't want. Can't adapt, can't coach him, and volatile. Here, 100% right. And folks, giving him the most valuable player trophy just enabled him. Oklahoma City enabled him. UCLA enabled him. The OKC media enabled him. The fans have enabled him. NBA media. But you know who wouldn't enable him? Kevin Durant. So I'm done with this. I don't want to be any part of this. Kevin Durant left and told people it was in articles. It was documented. It was written about. You're enabling him. And the MVP did the exact same thing. You told him by giving him the most valuable player based on a stat, this is awesome, more of that. And so he pads that, and he thinks that's great. But triple-doubles don't win playoff games. Adaptability, coachability, not being volatile. Russell Westbrook has never been built to succeed in the postseason. Some players just are. Some players just aren't, and he's the latter. It's not about hating. The minute you get emotional, it's my advantage over anybody that watches or listens to the show. Because we all know this. We get emotional about our kids. We get emotional about our wives. We get emotional about our teams, and then we get blinded by it. It's not been difficult to see. He is now, without a doubt, a liability to the franchise. I can make an argument. He's one of the 10 worst contracts in sports. They're on the hook for 4 more years, averaging $40 million, and it's getting worse. And he's been enabled, and there's nowhere to go on it. There's nowhere to go on it. Like I say, you can always go hard to lighten up. Tom Coughlin did that with the New York Giants. He was a hard ass, then he lightened up, and the players bought in. You can't go soft and enabling, ice cream for breakfast, and then come in and go, no way, we're all eating that. And the kids just roll their eyes at dad and mom and laugh. Once you enable somebody, you cannot get strict. You can't. You can be rough on people, Belichick, Tom Coughlin, and lighten up. That works. The opposite does not. Oklahoma City is absolutely trapped. You picked the wrong guy, and you've enabled him, and this is what you're left with. There are 4 teams in the NBA, I think, 4 or 5 teams in the NBA that have multiple All-Stars. They're all flying through the playoffs, except one, OKC. So after the game, there was an incident where Paul George is one of the best guys in the league. He's one of the nicest guys in the league. Everybody likes Paul George. He has now apparently hitched his wagon to to Russell Westbrook. He's going to do the same, kind of nonsense post game. I think it's a big mistake by Paul George. I think people like Paul George. I think Westbrook's become Bitcoin, unstable and a bad investment. I don't think there's any question that Oklahoma City, the owner, is going to have to write a $65 million check, salary cap issues. He's being rewarded with a third straight first-round playoff exit. I don't know any billionaires, but I'm just going to guess on this one. They don't like writing $60 million checks and not getting anything of substance in return. It's going to go with that right there. I don't know that to be true, but I'm thinking it is. I think Oklahoma City would bail tomorrow on Westbrook. His contract for the next 4 years averages about $40 million. He can't shoot. It's getting worse. He's on the back nine of his career. And so there was this last game a couple days ago. Was this last night after the game? Game 3 a couple days ago. Paul George, Westbrook dealing with the Oklahoma City. By the way, this is dealing with the Oklahoma City media, which is overwhelmingly in Westbrook's corner. Steve Kerr came out. Steve Kerr, coach of the Warriors, former player and broadcaster and general manager, is overwhelmingly pro-NBA player. He is the ultimate player's coach. And he came out and he said, we got to be careful as a league. This is dangerous. We're in a good place. Fans love the game. They love the connection they feel to the players. It's important for the players to understand that it's a key dynamic to this league. I don't think this is a healthy dynamic. Of course it's not a healthy dynamic. If Tom Brady was doing that every single day to the media, or if Peyton Manning in his prime was, or Patrick Mahomes, or Bryce Harper, or Mike Trout, this is not what you want. And it's unfortunate that Paul George is buying into the oddness and strangeness of Russell Westbrook. I mean, just to give you an example, we've reached the tipping point with Westbrook where you can no longer constantly defend him. Even if you cover him, you lose credibility. Royce Young is like Mr. Westbrook fan. He covers the Thunder. Even he put this on Twitter. He goes, as a Blazer checked in this weekend, the assistant told him, Chief, don't help on Russ. Let him shoot. I mean, now that's the Oklahoma City media. They're starting to turn on him. The fans during the game with Westbrook, they started grumbling and booing him. Russ has been enabled and he's rigid. What happens now when people start turning on him? I think this is a big mistake for Paul George. You've got a great reputation. You're coachable. You work your tail off. You're likable. Russell Westbrook right now is not somebody you want to be associated with. Look at his contract next 4 years, 38, 41, 44, and 47 million. That's an awful contract. And Oklahoma City is trapped, and they've enabled him. Paul George, choose wisely in this league. Choose your agent, choose your team, choose your friends, choose your enemies, choose your allies carefully. It's a bad look, and Steve Kerr nailed it. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.